Kashimo, you really thought you was the main character last chapter. Damn, you really thought you was him. What up, y'all? We got that 238 chapter review. Man, I put a lot of heart and soul into this video, man. I'll appreciate it if you hit that like button and if you hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get 75 likes, 75 subscribers, and I'm trying to grow this channel. We trying to go crazy. But man, if you love talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, let's get into it. Okay, so unpopular opinion, maybe. Am I like the only one that thinks Kashimo is trash? This man talked a big game while Gojo was boxing with Sukuna, and man, you didn't respect yourself. Gege did not respect you. This man only gave you one chapter to box, and he killed you off. Man, I'm not gonna lie, you talked a very big game, man, just to go out like that, man. What is that, bro? One use technique, man. You used that in one chapter. Better stop the cap. Man, trash. Sukuna's really just a main character in Jujutsu Kaisen because his concepts are just so deep that when you actually think about it, right, it is just so philosophical. Sukuna talks to Kashimo about love in the sense that because in his time, well, Kashimo's time anyway, he was challenged by many because he was the strongest. And they weren't doing it just as a curse, but it was really just out the fact that they wanted to be recognized. Sukuna connects to those beneath him with absolute strength. So those who deem themselves to be the strongest in their eyes, Sukuna meets them halfway to the point where he gives them the battle of a lifetime where they can go all out. That's in turn what he means by showing love to those who are beneath him. So when you think about it, when Gojo in his dying moments basically spoke about, you know, giving it his all and being satisfied and whatnot, he felt dissatisfied because he couldn't give that same love in return. But I feel like the goal and the role of the strongest is to be the strongest, but at the same time, you can't receive the same love that you can give to others. It almost makes me feel like Gojo's life was a bit of a lie. Well, the life he lived anyway. I mean, he was loved and adored as the strongest at the time, but at the same time, I feel like he didn't really live the life he wanted to personally live, and almost feels like he lived a life worth of regrets. I mean, when Gojo was young, he looked at people as being beneath him because they were weak, pretty much the same as Sukuna. The only difference between them was that Gojo was good and he has a good moral compass, like he operates with a good moral compass. And Sukuna, I'm not gonna sit there and say he's actually evil. I would say he's an antagonist that lives life on his own terms, especially with the way he spoke about the way he lives his life. He doesn't care about anything. He just does what he wants. Like Kenjaku, he's definitely evil. Like, this dude wants to get rid of all the humans and make a society that's just only filled with sorcerers. So he's definitely evil. But Sukuna just does what he wants, but he's not afraid to admit it. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I can respect it. Gojo and Kashimo are very similar as people because yes, they were the strongest for the time in which they existed. But the problem is that you can't be the strongest but also want to be able to relate to others. It's literally impossible. You can't have both. And I think the one thing that makes Sukuna probably the realest villain, right, is that it's actually true. And Sukuna's actually accepted this to the point where he deems love as basically worthless. And it's greedy to want to be the strongest, but to also be able to connect to others. You can have one or the other, but you can't have both. Sukuna understands this significantly, and he lives life on his own terms to the point where he states that if you really can't understand what I'm trying to do for myself, that's not my problem. And to be honest, that's probably the craziest amount of life advice, because sometimes when you're just going through life, a lot of people ain't gonna understand what you're trying to do for yourself, man. And to tell you the truth, it's not your responsibility to make people understand. If they can't understand it, hey, that's their problem. And I ain't gonna lie, man, y'all can take that one to the bank. Hey yo, let Sukuna cook. This man even sat there and said, the thought of needing someone else to fulfill me never crossed my mind. And that hits real deep, right? Because a lot of people in society nowadays just kind of do things all in the name of validation for others. Look how many people clout chase on Instagram just to receive validation from other people and whatnot. How many people actually receive validation from themselves? I know it's not that many, but they definitely exist, and Sukuna's definitely one of them. And honestly, I think it's a good way to live. Don't do things just to impress others. Do things to better yourself. If others like what you're doing, people will come along, but I mean, do it for you, not for nobody else. He even further tells Kashimo that honestly, he had this conversation with Yorozu, and honestly, Yorozu would have been better off having this conversation with Gojo or Kashimo. And in my own personal opinion, I think it's heavily naive to think that you can sit there and want to be the best at something, but also have others relate to you. That's not how life works. Kashimo's strength-wise was never touching Sukuna. Sukuna literally speed blitzed a man that is as fast as lightning. That's basically being able to speed blitz Killua in his God speed form. Remember, Killua's movements are connected to his thoughts. That's beyond crazy to me. Kashimo is literally oozing out the lip as he's just gazing on Sukuna's body of perfection. Sort of like the same level of admiration you have for Goku when he turned Super Saiyan for the first time on Toonami. Yeah, Sukuna did not hesitate to let this man know that, yo, champ, you are not that guy. Sukuna tells Kashimo to dodge an attack before he launches the attack. The worst part about it, right, is that Kashimo loses an arm because Sukuna uses the same dismantle technique that he used against Gojo. You know how crazy that's like calling EMTs before you're about to whoop somebody and you let them know, oh, basically, before we fight, I'm gonna call these EMTs because you're going to the hospital next. So Sukuna's got multiple mouths, and I mean, he's got 4 arms, right? So I mean, with the mouths, he can state incantations, which can actually increase the strength of a technique. I mean, we saw it when Gojo used it with Hollow Purple, when he did that preemptive strike against Sukuna, and when he used the same Hollow Purple nuke. And then now he's got 4 arms, so 2 of them could actually be used to weave hand signs, while the other 2 are free. I'm starting to wonder, will Gojo have won that domain expansion battle that him and Sukuna had at the beginning if Sukuna used his original body? Yeah, at this point in time, I'm starting to think that honestly, I can't really gauge how much stronger Sukuna is in comparison to Gojo. But I ain't gonna lie, with the way Kashimo just got washed this whole chapter, I'm starting to think that that gap is a lot bigger than we thought. Himawari and Yuji jump in the battle, and at this point in time, I feel like Yuji's definitely gonna be the guy to show Sukuna the love that he's never really experienced, to the point where Sukuna can really go all out. I'm definitely excited to see what Yuji has in store, because right now, ain't nobody else there that can whoop Sukuna. Remember, I'm pretty sure Hikari beat Kashimo in that fight. And I mean, Kashimo's not touching Gojo. So to be honest, Kashimo losing was heavily expected. I at least thought he was going to get at least like 2 or 3 chapters or whatever. But god damn, Gege does not respect this man one bit. I'm definitely looking forward to Yuji actually fighting with Higuruma, because man, Higuruma adjusting his tie, and I don't know what the hell Yuji doing, but he got claws and he's biting his arms too. So man, this gonna be something crazy. I'm definitely looking forward to it, but unfortunately, we on break next week. But you know what? I'ma still be here anyway, man. But yo, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll holler at y'all later, man. Peace.